Alright, good evening. Today I want to do a quick video about the most common complaint of adults when learning how to swim. I've been a swimming teacher for about 4 years, and in my practice, in my teaching, in my work, I've come across many adults who all have this pretty much the same complaint, which is, I struggle to breathe when I swim. So to address this, we're going to try and understand why they have this complaint, why is it so common, and then we're going to break it down into how we can actually learn how to swim, so how to breathe properly when we swim. So to begin with, I want to explain that there's a lot that happens when we swim. Swimming is about 800 times more dense than air, moving through air. So there's a lot. It's very energy demanding when we swim, and when we use the larger muscle groups in our body, that uses a lot more energy than the smaller muscle groups in our body. So the human body can only sustain about 10 seconds roughly of intense energy, like the 100-meter sprint can last about 10 seconds, because the human body is only able to produce or use that much energy from glucose in that time. But you can also work on your endurance, which is your ability to use oxygen as an energy source over time, and swimming is one of the best ways to do that. So that's why people struggle. Essentially, when people get better from swimming, all they're doing is becoming more efficient at moving through the water. And so when people complain that I can't breathe, what's actually happening is that they're really inefficient at using oxygen when learning how to swim. So it's because their technique isn't on point. And in order to build technique, you need to break down swimming into its component parts, which the BLABT framework is, and you need to work through the skill acquisition model to work on each of those component parts one at a time. So that was the introduction. To begin with, let's start with looking at the 3 stages of skill learning. The first stage is called the cognitive stage. It's to do with the mind. It's about getting what you want to learn in a picture in your head, and figuring out what is the movement that you're going to do, or what part of your body is going to move in what way. So first point is to get it in your head. So if you don't get it, ask the questions, and if you don't still understand, ask for a demonstration, and if you still don't understand, maybe watch a video or watch a few videos, and maybe ask some more people. About having a range of answers to the same question is really helpful, so you can do that. Once you get what you're trying to learn in your head, so let's take for example front crawl, and we're learning through the BLABT framework, and we're looking at your body position. So in the body position, I need to get it in my head first, which is flat and face down. So I need to then go on to the second stage of skill acquisition, which is assimilation. So in the assimilation stage, what you're doing is taking the movement or the action or the part of the component stroke, which is front crawl body position, and you're practicing to do that in the water. So you can basically use a training aid to help you do that, and the more training aids you need, the more you should use. So you shouldn't ever shy away from using training aids or floats to help you feel comfortable in the water. What you're trying to do is condition yourself to the component parts of the stroke on the BLABT framework. So where are we? We're at the cognitive stage, the assimilation stage, where we are getting our body used to that position, that component part of the stroke. If we then work our way up to the leg action of front crawl, leg action starts off, we don't kick from the hips. What we do is we don't kick from the knees, we kick from the hips. So a lot of children have, it's called a flutter kick, that's what it is called. And it's with really flexible ankles, and you're kicking from the hips. There's not that much of a bend of the knee, and that's what you've got to practice. And you have to practice that a long time. In the beginning, if you're trying to correct something, you have to start off slowly and then build up your speed. Once you've built that speed up, you have to do it to the extent that it goes into the third stage of skill learning, which is autonomous stage. So the autonomous stage is when you learn the skill to the level where you can do it without thinking about it. So example is that when I work with children and teach them through the BLABT framework on the front crawl, for example, we make sure that they can put their head in the water to get their ideal body position, and they're looking downwards instead of forwards, and they're propelling themselves in the water using their legs, using a flutter kick with really flexible ankles, and that's perfect. They're working their way up now. The next thing on the BLABT framework is the arm action. So the arm action is usually done by working one arm at a time by using a drill called the catch-up drill, and they can do it using a noodle or a kickboard. So they just hold the kickboard up ahead, and they put one arm, push the arm back, water, push towards the feet, and then they catch the flow again, and then they do it again to the other arm, and they catch it again, and then they do it to the other arm, and they catch it again. When I ask children to do the arm action and their legs stop kicking, that's when I know that the leg action, the leg aspect, component part of the stroke on the BLABT framework hasn't gone into the autonomous stage of the child's brain yet. The learning hasn't taken place. So all of my practices have to come back a little bit, and I have to spend a longer time with that child or with that class in the assimilation stage of that component part of the stroke. So I hope that all makes sense. Just to recap, the three stages of skill learning are cognitive, assimilative, and autonomous stage. So you have to build all of these component parts of the BLABT framework through these three stages, and you have to do it gradually and slowly, and with patience. It takes 6 to 8 weeks, roughly, generally speaking, to learn a new skill, and so have patience with yourself. There's 5 component parts of each stroke, so if you give yourself like 1 week, if you go training once a week, and you work on the BLABT framework, and there's 4 strokes and there's 5 component parts of the stroke, so you're looking at 20 weeks of work in the pool to learn. 1 week you're just learning on one specific thing, so you've got 20 weeks of training and lessons that you can focus on and build, and after that 20 weeks you'll be a much better swimmer and a much safer swimmer. And please try that, do that, get in touch if you have any questions, and I would love to hear more from you guys. If you found this useful, make sure you like and subscribe, etc., etc.